So, I've been trying to make this video, basically I've been trying to go live for 3 days, because I've figured out the way for me to just get to the point is to actually make a live video, and then if I have to go back and edit it, so be it. But I've been trying to do this video for 3 days, and I've finally gotten to it, so let's get into it. As you can see from the thumbnail or from this here, I'm new to YouTube, so I don't know how to post stuff up. But basically, I'm talking about the conversation or the peace talks between Zelensky and Trump. And there's a couple things that I want to make note of before going any further. And I'll probably have to make this statement each time I talk about the president. However, number one, I am not a therapist. I am not a licensed therapist. Nothing that I say, it comes from a therapist background. Everything I'm telling you is based on an insane amount of research. And having been with a suspected covert narcissist for over 20 years. So this is coming from a very much a personal place. It is not coming from an educational space. I guess the reason I'm doing this and why I'm talking about this is because nobody talks about covert narcissists, and they lurk among us. They are detrimental to our health. And so if I can help somebody figure out before it is too late what to look for, then that's what I'm going to do. And unfortunately, our current president is someone that exhibits and has traits that are very narcissistic. Now, so that is that. I'm not a therapist. I can't. But then that leads into nothing that I say on here live has anything to do with my political affiliation. It has nothing to do with my political views. In fact, I was not a fan of Donald Trump when he was a celebrity, or as I knew him as a celebrity. Didn't like him then, didn't realize why I didn't like him. There's something about him I just didn't like. Then he goes into office, and now he's back in office. And just if you're a human being, some of the things that he's doing currently in office, regardless of your political affiliation, is just crazy. And so when I'm talking about Trump on here, or if I'm talking about the president, I am talking about patterns of behavior, things that if you so felt compelled enough to do, you could go back and watch and start doing your own research on his patterns of behavior. But for this purpose and moving forward, we are not talking politics. It's just as the patterns that have presented themselves that are very narcissistic. And so without, now I've said all that, see, this is the stuff I would edit out, but this is who I am, and this is how I talk, and this is me. So I figure I'm going to do live videos, and then you can just watch the replay. So, so the Trump and Zelensky conversation, peace talks, if you will, they were insane. And as soon as I saw the video and then saw it like on social media, the conversation that kept coming up, now again, the algorithm kind of links everybody together, but the thing that I kept seeing was that if you've ever been in an abusive relationship, the conversation between Trump and Zelensky felt very familiar. And I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. I'm still struggling with coming to terms with the fact that I was in an abusive relationship. But that's another story for another day. Long story short is it felt very familiar. And what I realized after kind of stepping back and watching it and kind of like digesting it and really thinking, what exactly is going on here? I realized I have been in that situation before. So the reason why it felt familiar, if it did feel familiar to you, is because, it's about patterns. There's patterns of behavior that are already in play with Trump and already in play with Zelensky. So when they sit down together, there's already this collective information in your head how this person is going to behave. And so there's 5 reasons why Trump behaved the way that he did. The first thing I want to take a time out to mention is that Zelensky, he actually was exhibiting protection body language. So anytime you're in a conversation and you're feeling attacked or you're feeling anything like that, uncertain, anything, a natural reaction is to cross your arms. So if you go back and watch the video, you'll see that Zelensky's constantly crossing his arms when Trump is addressing him. And so if you've ever been around somebody who is a covert narcissist, who's a narcissist, in my opinion, Trump is very much an overt narcissist, not covert. Because he's very upfront about what he does. He does it in plain sight. So that's more of an overt narcissist. But overt or covert, they all have the very similar qualities. And when you get into arguments like they did, there is this feeling of it as an individual of I can't win. No matter what you say in the argument, you're not going to win. And that's kind of the position that Zelensky was in, is that whatever Trump said, he just has to kind of agree or disagree. Like there has to be a very hard left or hard right way to answer the question. So how did he even get put in this position? So first off, there is the first tactic, which is this condescending setup. Zelensky was invited to the White House. He was invited to have these conversations, but based on patterns of behavior, the way Trump and his colleagues engage, they already have an agenda. I think any politician has an agenda, but he already had an agenda going into the peace talks. And based on Trump's pattern of behavior, they're not always sound with logic. I don't know what goes into his brain when he speaks, but whatever happens, right? So Trump has his idea. Zelensky is there for a peace meeting. He's there as an ally. But the first thing is Trump doesn't give Zelensky the opportunity to explain himself, to speak up. He kind of asks open-ended questions, and then Zelensky starts to answer, and then he talks over him again. So basically what happens is it's a condescending setup that Trump has this idea, this thing that he wants to do, and he basically uses his language to get Zelensky to comply. So it's a setup. The way he has set it up, the smirk on his face, the shake of his head. He asks questions to bait Zelensky to answer, and no matter how Zelensky answers that question, Trump is going to twist it, or J.D. Vance is going to twist it. And I want to make a note about J.D. Vance is in the conversation on narcissism. you'll hear the term flying monkeys. And this is a perfect example of a flying monkey. Somebody who, J.D. Vance is the flying monkey, and he essentially inserts himself into the conversation, says, hey, don't do these things, you need to apologize to America, whatever the hell he says. And then kind of Trump jumps on top of that, and then JD doesn't say anything, really. That is a flying monkey. That is somebody who is there in that narcissistic person's life to be their wingman, essentially. Like, they are the person that's like, yeah, you're doing the right thing, even though it is misguided or it is insane information that just doesn't make sense. So J.D. Vance set Zelensky up, and then Trump kind of came in for the kill. So then the next tactic number 2, is this weird undermining laugh. You say something that is very serious and they laugh at you. It's one of those scoff laughs, or they just flat out laugh at you. It's almost as if the fact that you are bringing up realistic information is like, good luck, because none of that's going to stick to me. It's very childish. It's very childish. But it is just enough when you are feeling very confident in yourself, that laugh is, the split second of the laugh makes you second guess yourself. And you're not. Because if you remove yourself from that situation, go explain what's going on to somebody who is not engaging with a disordered individual, they'll be like, okay, that doesn't make sense. So that's kind of, there. Okay, so first it was the condescending setup. Then it was the undermining laugh. Okay, now the power flip. There's always this thing with narcissists where they feel like they are in control, or like that they've let you have control, and then all of a sudden everything is flipped on a dime, and you are now in this weird dichotomy of like defending yourself and defending them. Like in this example Zelensky was making, Trump was trying to make Zelensky prove his loyalty to the United States. Like, what in the actual F? So you always feel like no matter what you say, they can flip the cards, and then you end up defending them. It's very weird. Which kind of leads into tactic number 4, which is the impossible standard. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, it is not enough. The fact that the Ukraine is fighting a war and Zelensky is here to talk peace. Then they had some person asking Zelensky about like what he was wearing. Like, why is that even relevant? Why does that matter? It doesn't matter. So the point is that you can never win. The standards are impossible. Again, not political. I don't remember all the things that Trump talked about, but from what I have understood and read is that he was just basically like pulling things out of the sky and talking about them to move the goalpost. So there's always an impossible standard with narcissists. Overts, they will tell you what their standard is, and you can see it, and you're like, you can say that's bullshit. But with coverts, it's very insidious. Okay, so but that is the impossible standard. And tactic number 5 was the public takedown. The pattern, if you watch from the time that Trump started saying he was going to run for president in 2016, whenever that was, he's used media. And who doesn't use media? All politicians use media. But if you look back at the way Trump uses media, he uses media as a way to try to position himself as the right person. That's how he tries to use media. It is very much a manipulation tactic. All people who are on media and doing media are trying to use and show information to present themselves in a positive light. But there are some that are very overt, and you can tell. Like, it's that's the point I'm trying to make. Anyway, he constantly uses media. And the fact that he probably had his own agenda going into the peace talks, the reason he used media is to basically shame and embarrass Zelensky. And that is very much a narcissistic sort of behavior, is they want there to be a public shaming. Coverts are very different. They still want that to happen, but it's almost like they want to light the match and run away. Coverts light the match and run away and then watch it burn from afar. Overts will stand in front of the burning building and be like, look, I did that. It's like, you idiot. So anyway, those are the 5 reasons that clip probably made your stomach turn. It wasn't about Trump. It is about every other narcissist who's pulled those moves on you, and you felt it in the pit of your stomach. So when something like that does happen, breathe. Just breathe. Don't gaslight yourself. You're not overreacting. Kind of start taking a journal, audio, whatever it is, however you work, write it down. And then if this is very new to you, let me make this very clear. If there is a narcissist or a covert narcissist in your life, and that Trump-Zelensky clip really impacted you, made you feel some kind of way, the first person you thought of when you saw that clip, more than likely, is going to be your covert narcissist. That is very much an easy way because you can very much say, this person made me feel this way, and the way Trump and Zelensky were having a conversation, I felt like Zelensky because X person, whoever X person is, that's your covert narcissist. So, and really, with a covert narcissist, with any narcissist, if you don't play by their rules, then you lose. So, how do you engage in this conversation and game, because that's what it is, with a narcissist? Number one, you don't want to play, but if you have to play, you need to know that they don't play by the rules. And really, the only way to make things happen is to change the rules. So, I just want to make sure that you realize that you're not alone. I'm still going through it. Still have another 3 years until I can officially go no contact with this individual. But on this channel, I'll be breaking down step by step the things that will make you say to yourself, I will never second guess myself ever again. So hit subscribe. Let's do this together. And I'll see you in the next one.